Naturally Radio. You learn naturally radio. You are, I am, we are enough, and together we learn naturally, together we grow naturally, and we start building like chlorophyll does in plants, and we fuse and we infuse and we keep developing, and we take the nurture from the waters and from the rays of the sun, and we keep growing. Yes. You learn naturally radio. Yes. You learn naturally radio. You learn naturally radio. You learn naturally radio.
Thank you. Well done. You've been here at the Abundance Centres doing your work placement, part of our science research team. It's been really good to have you here. We have work placements regularly and they all build into our project. The main one is supporting our learner cooperative and supporting our cadets. And so the work you do as science research support builds into curricular development and resource development and community engagement in science. So we really appreciate your support. It'll be really useful for you to just introduce yourselves. You may feel like you've said these things before because you've been going over this stuff in your work. But anyway, just introduce yourselves and say a bit about what you've done, anything you feel you've learned in the process. And this will also be a resource, as well as for the audience of You Learn Naturally Radio. It will be something for other work placements to pick up on the things you've done so that they can continue the development.
My name is Iris Murati. I'm doing at the moment studying in Unifiedknowledge, level 1 BTech course, science. And this is actually the first time that I'm working in a community center, which I think is very useful for me and for my future career to see how to work with other people and to work together and even and everything. So I had two tasks. The first one was to editing a video which was talking about the human body and all the sides of it, which I think it was very nice and interesting, and I learned a lot about it. And I learned how to actually edit a video. And my second task was to see the different topic of GCSE STEM and try to create a connection with some scientists and engineering and inventors about that are not so known this far. I really liked this experience because I think it helped me a lot, and I had a really great time here.
Thank you.
My name is Cindy Delila and I come from Enfield College. I do BTech Science Level 1, and as a work experience I got to work at the Abundance Centre. It's such a really nice community because you not only learn new things, but you also make new stories and friendships that you get to spend time with lots of people, and it's a really nice time. But I got to, just like my friend said, we got to edit a video over the human body. The video itself was really artistic because it had different footages of the human body, even though it might be kind of triggering for some people. And with that, alongside that art, we also got the information how the person explained every single part of the human body, how it works, and it was really informative. And it gives you it awakens something in you. It gives you passion. Once you listen to that video, which is like 1 hour and 40 minutes long, it just makes you excited to learn this new thing that's like it is basically you. And as a second task, we got to talk about scientists which contributed on the science so much, but are not as known as other scientists like, I don't know, Isaac Newton or Einstein. But I think that by doing that, by giving information for these scientists that are not so known, I think that they help other people not only to give information about these and make them known, but also inspire them by the things that they've done and how they were not afraid to speak up.
Okay, thank you. Well done. Adil.
My name is Adil Adam. I came from Unifiedknowledge. I'm doing at the moment level 1 science. Yes. And at Abundance Center, I had 2 tasks. The first one is to gather and to collect together names from books that are actually given to me. These books have names of black scientists, especially in UK, America, and Europe in general. So the thing is, a lot of the scientists are actually known today. They wouldn't be known unless they had help from other scientists. And what we found is a lot of things are actually invented a long time ago, or they still doing it today, or developing it today. It happened one time in the history, and black scientists actually helped them, and some of them actually they are the ones that invented them. And what I found is that those people, they didn't found, or they haven't given them the opportunity or the chance they deserve in the internet, so they can be known to the people and people can learn from them. So what we did at Abundance Center, we got all these names in one sheet, and we looked at the internet and we made a search about them, and those who actually didn't find anything about them, we read some books and we found information. We got all this information and we send the trend for young people so they can be inspired to know that the science community is not only for certain kind of people. Everyone that with different ethnics, different backgrounds, different origins, they can actually contribute to science as it was. And the second one is to put a reference for these names. So we put the reference, and we put a reference such as links, videos, and so people can go back and learn and add things that if they want to add. And what I learned is what we did at the Abundance Center as well is we work in a management space. That space is give us like one spreadsheet that all of us, we have not like 3 of us that actually who did the search on these scientists. We work together, and the thing is, it gives us the opportunity not just to learn how to cooperate and to work together, because we face some difficulties, but when we work together and we share what we have, it makes it easier for us to gather and to get the work done. Yes. And about the center, we thought it's just a community, but it's not just a community, it's a science school, because it gives you a new ways and a new method to learn and even to educate and to teach yourself. And it's also an opportunity to interact with different people, different ages, and how to become when people it's a community center, so everyone can come and you know how to deal with different people. And we really had a nice time, and we hopefully one day we'll come here and contribute again, hopefully. Yeah.
Well, I would definitely welcome that. You're very welcome. Yeah. So it's good, and really I look forward to the expansion of our organisation so that we can employ people. That's our idea. We need to be able to employ people. So when you come up, maybe that will happen. You never know. Yeah. Just to put into context what you've said, I think you've explained it very clearly. The work, your assignments, particularly I'll say the video first. The video is a very immersive view of the internal body, as you said. And so our idea is to be able to extract particular elements for our cadets, to be able to highlight particular elements and bring them together, perhaps in new ways that are even more dynamic. And so the fact that you've indexed every part of that will make it a much more powerful resource. So well done for doing that. It's also regarding the integration of the curricula. You've been looking at 5 GCSE AQA curricula guides. You've reviewed those things carefully, the contents for basically the sciences, for the biology, the chemistry, the physics, for the combined trilogy and combined synergy science forms. And so our intention is to blend those curricula with the histories of those inventors and notable persons in science. Adil has mentioned that they're coming from a cultural perspective in terms of cultural diversity related to Africa or the Caribbean or African America, and our reason for doing that is to show a broader diversity. I think in just generally in schooling there's not enough diversity that is shown in the curricula, and so we're keen to do that to balance the picture. As you said, you found it hard to find certain information, but you know that these people have done some things because some information is there. So our work will profile it and go beyond. This is the key in terms of unified knowledge, which is the system of teaching we have for our centre and our organisation, to go beyond just telling the story, but to actually guide cadets and students through rediscovering what those persons did, how they came about their discoveries. So you need more than just the history of what they did. You need to be able to follow the actual science of what they did and think through the challenges that they faced in the learning to get to the place they got to. That's a much harder thing to do, but what you've done here in your work placement is help us prepare that kind of learning experience. That's how it will be used. That's the purpose of it. So we really appreciate that. And Jay, you've been working on other things. I wanted to summarize that because you've been working on some slightly different things. So please, if you introduce yourself and tell us what you've been doing.
I'm Jay. I'm currently studying level 2 science at Unifiedknowledge here at the Abundance Centre. I have been working on a drone project which relates to how STEM education and drones can work together hand in hand. And what I've found is that drones are a very good tool for STEM education because you can use drones, which are very fun to play with, to help people understand how they work, like the aerodynamics of the drone, how they're built and stuff like that. So it's aimed for younger people, younger children specifically, so they can play with the drones. They can learn how to fix the drones if they're broken. They can learn how they work, the physics of them. Also, I've been working on another project with Google SketchUp, which focuses on the Gazette symbol and how the Gazette is constructed. And I've also been working on a room which relates with the tetrahedral model, which focuses on the formation of the hydrogen molecule. And I've been designing the interior room of this building, of this spherical building, which can be used as like a learning tool as well, because it helps.
Before you explain that, let me just put it into context because it can sound a bit abstract. What we're doing, what you've been doing, you received a brief. We've got a brief for developing a futuristic centre. So you have read the brief very carefully, and I'm quite pleased with the way all of you have read your briefs carefully, so you know what you're being asked to do, and all of you have been able to ask good questions regarding things you need to know, which is important. So you've read the brief for a futuristic unified knowledge centre. By doing that, we're doing it to learn about design, to learn about the power of visualization, really. Because visualization, we have a mathematician's charter in our pedagogy, and the third point of the mathematician's charter is to enhance visualization. So, and that for me is the real power for mathematics, which sits in a very special place to all of the science. So the act of taking a design idea and using geometry to use a tool like SketchUp to then build a form that then could be taken to an actual builder or to a more advanced design firm and be elaborated on, and then at some point in time a structure based on that could actually be made. The value of that is very, very powerful. So we want to introduce what we are introducing our cadets to this idea. So that what you're doing in making the designs and the model will be part of a learning experience for others. You're opening the way for that. Some ones were before you because you came and saw some things done already, but I think you've built on it quite swiftly and dynamically expanded it a certain way. So it's a very, very special thing in that way. I have a passion for that myself. I have an interest for it. So I'm kind of aligned to that work a lot. But yeah, you were just saying something more, I think.
Yeah, also the Gazette is very...
Oh, I should just say one thing, Gazette. The Gazette is an icon that we use, which is a geometric form in a circle containing the basic principles of point, line, spiral, triangle, square, and then the three-dimensional forms which you'd have to visualize more, sphere and cube. But yeah.
Yeah, the Gazette is a very useful tool in my opinion, because it's good to help children learn about maths and geometry, as you said, and also it's also good that they learn to do it on SketchUp, in my opinion, as well, because it can help them learn to design things and visualize things from all perspectives, so they too can also develop their own ideas, broaden their imagination, and they can also understand how these things work.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can speak for my cadets a little bit. They love it when we do these things. You know, most ones are like their computers and their screens, but this is a useful thing to do with a computer to go into design. It's a powerful thing to do, and so I know they will enjoy the tutorial, which we are in the middle of making right now, and we will push forward to all the potential, because SketchUp has a huge potential for design, and it's a tool that's easy to access. So thank you very much. You have been you've done very well in your work placements. You've been very efficient and effective in the things you've had to do. You've shown diligence in it. That's important. Yeah, you've done well. I would say that the science placements generally come with more concentration than many others. So it's special. No, it's good. I enjoy it.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to see you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well done. Thank you. Well done.
You Learn Naturally Radio. To bring the community together, to connect with one another, to learn, to be able to connect, educate and empower.
Moving swiftly on to a rewarding and inspiring selection of role models in the race, faith and religion category.
It's an absolute pleasure to be able to present this award on behalf of the Ombudsman Service. And the nominees for the Positive Role Model for Race, Faith and Religion are
Jasveer Singh, Tanweer Ikram, Reverend Roland Jide Macaulay, Kay Oldroyd, Sonia Meggie.
This extraordinary individual serves as the ideal positive role model. They are a determined leader who has been recognised as one of the most influential people of African and African Caribbean heritage in the UK. Please put your hands together for this year's winner, Sonia Meggie.
Well, for once, I'm actually really lost for words. I didn't expect to win. And the reason why I started Inspirational You was exactly because of events like this, individuals like yourself, because it's so important that we know who we are, that we are supporting one another, and that we continue to pay it forward. And just seeing my daughter on the screen just reminds me why I'm here. But thank you. I'm on board.
Congratulations, well done.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I meet far too many women who, once they enter a relationship or once they start their careers or once they have children, they forget about who they were as an individual, and they often feel quite disheartened, and they often feel, where am I? And they're challenged in terms of what they're about and what their purpose is. So I go out and I remind those women that you can and you will. So I encourage them to look at what they can do to start a business, or equally within the professions that they work in, tell people who you are and what you want. Ask that mentor, ask that sponsor if they'll support you. And we've done what we do to bring the community together, to connect with one another, to learn, to be able to connect, educate and empower. You Learn Naturally Radio. Hi, this is Sonia from Inspirational You, and I, in my spare time, in my real time, in my every time, listen to You Learn Naturally Radio. 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 You Learn Naturally Radio.